You're listening to ArTEEtude, a podcast with artists created and produced by Detlef Schlich, a visual artist and ritual designer, living and loving in West Cork, and best known for his essay about the cause and effect of shamanism, art and digital culture. Working in the field of performance, photography, painting, sound, installations, and film, he will dive and discover with us and a weekly creative guest into the unknown and exciting deep ocean of the creative mind.
This is Detlef Schlich, and today we dive into the unexpected and exciting deep ocean of the creative mind, together with Bernd Hoffmann, an old artist friend of mine from Germany, from Cologne. We already had a first part together where we talked about his book, which comes out probably in February. But if you go back to the first part, you get more about inspiration and everything. So Bernd is musician and music journalist as well, and we might talk now in the second part more about his life and as a music journalist and how he enjoyed the time and Hi Bernd, great to have you here.
Hi Detlef, yeah, nice to see you and to hear you.
Yeah. I mean, we know us now more, 30 years, something like this, more, almost 40 years. I mean, in the 20s. Almost 40 years.
That's right.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's terrible. How the time flies. It's unbelievable.
And we saw us probably the last time 35 years ago, no? 34 years, something like this.
We saw the last time in the cinema, and that was the time before you go to Ireland, I remember.
Did we see us there?
Yeah, once, the last time in cinema, in the big cinema in Cologne.
No, yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, however, I mean, Bernd is, Bernd is musician and music journalist, and I didn't cut your time as music journalist so much. So when did you start to work for the VDR, for the WDR, which is a broadcast station in Germany?
I was a quiz author. I worked for a VDR show, but as a music journalist, I asked the Eclipse. It is a magazine who writes about progressive music and older music. And there was a Carl Palmer concert in Burg Satzwey,
all right,
Eifel, and I saw, I go for you, and I make the article about the Carl Palmer band, and so that was the start for my music journalist career.
And that was, when was it? In the 90s?
2005.
Okay, I was already in Ireland. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. And so you do. It's quite interesting because you mentioned in the first part that there was quite interesting incident with the Carl Palmer band, because Bernd's book is inspired by Emerson, Lake and Palmer's and the constellation of the musical constellation of the keyboards and drums and percussion castles and sharks and all that. And so what was about this meeting with Carl Palmer?
Oh, it was horrible. It was my first gig as a music journalist, and I was afraid to have not good photos. So I take my digital camera, and it was a little room. Perhaps it was 150 people there. Carl Palmer, he was a big rock star. Now he plays in such small rooms. Okay, I took the digital camera. I click and with a flashlight. Yeah. And after 2 tracks, Carl Palmer come to the stage and said to me, "No more photos, stop it. And you must see, I'm the greatest Emerson and Palmer friend of Germany. He
Yeah.
was my big drum idol. I saw it as a young man and as an old man. He speaks with me, and I saw, no, that can be true. He don't know. I was his greatest fan. After the concert, my girlfriend goes to Carl Palmer with my CD. He has released a best of CD, and he said, "Oh, where have you the CD from there?" And it was for me. It was a horrible event. That was my first and last confrontation with my big idol. It was terrible.
Honestly, so you had the encounter with him then, but you had your interview with him, didn't you?
I only had I had a concert article, and then I make interviews with John Heisman from Colosseum. He was a very nice guy.
No, what I mean is, so you didn't speak with him.
No.
On this.
Later, I have written a letter to him per email, but I get no answer.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine. I can't imagine that. So that happens to me sometimes as well. That I'm still walking into disaster moments like this, you know. So, and I mean, it's probably so the flashlight was so annoying for him that he was confused probably, and he was getting blind, and yeah. So you did it from the first row, or where?
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
Yeah, genau. It was a direct flashlight. It was a little camera, also it was not a professional camera. You can get this flashlight about the walls. It's a better flashlight. Sure. I have the amateur flashlight. It was for me a mistake. It's right. Okay, that's right. Yeah.
So, but was it in purpose that you already said, okay, so I'm gonna go over there and write this article in purpose for Eclipse? So all right. Okay, so you just thought. I mean, it was 2003. It was not the time of smartphones. It was So, and 150 people, and if you're the only one who makes photos,
it's interesting. A very hard work conditions for photographs and concerts, and the other people make their smartphones and they go on and make one photo to another. No?
No, but not 2005. I mean,
2005 not yes, but later in the years.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so that was your time with your idol Carl Palmer. So and do you still listen to the music?
Yes, it takes a year to handle it because it was a terrible event with Carl. To see his face, he was very angry. He speaks to me very angry, but today I can listen to Emerson Palmer. Yeah.
So you're not post-traumatized?
No. That's over. It takes a long time ago, but now it's okay. It's okay.
Now I know. That was probably then the revenge. They said, "All right, guys, so if you're so nasty to me, so you inspire me now for this book idea, so I bring that to paper, wasn't it?" So you thought, okay, go on. So I make a book out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, of your behavior, Carl Palmer, not with me. You don't get rid of me. Cool. Yeah. So that was your first, your first work job as music journalist.
Yes, and then I make many interviews with Extra Bright. Grobschnitt, Erok. He was a famous drummer in Germany, and Grobschnitt was a famous group in Germany.
Krautrock,
yes. Grobschnitt was not krautrock. It was a very special rock, solar music. It's a little bit like progressive rock, we can say Grobschnitt, but also have krautrock like Amendyl or Hölderlin. I also make interviews and concert articles. Yes, and Colosseum, John Heisman, Steve Katz from Blood, Sweat and Tears, And very nice was Edgar Froese from Tangerine Dream. He was a very nice guy.
All right. So, James Taylor?
James Taylor, no interviews. It was only an article about his life, but no interview with James Taylor. No.
All right. So I thought.
I don't like the music of James Taylor. I find it horrible. I find James Taylor horrible. He also come in my book and not very positive. Also, this ballads he sing, he was a nice guy. He was married with Curly Simon. That's very interesting. But the music of James Taylor, boo.
No, you don't like him?
No. Yes, okay, so I was very successful in America.
Winter, spring, summer, and fall. All you got to do is call. And I'll be there, yes, I will. You've got a friend. Yeah, that's James Taylor. I think Carly Simon wrote it.
You mean the old James Taylor, not this, it exists another James Taylor Quartet or so on. Let's talk about Taylor, James Taylor. Fire and Rain and You Got a Friend. No? Yes.
And Carly Simon.
A very obscure album like Gorilla, James Taylor. And you see
I don't know.
Yeah, Gorilla, now from 1974. You see him in a white suit and he has terrible sandals on. I think I only asked me, what should this very obscure album? What was also successful?
I must say, I don't know many songs of James Taylor. You've Got a Friend. It's like I say, it's probably written by Carly Simon. Don't quote me for that. I'm not totally sure, but I think it is. And I think she was singing that before James Taylor as well. I'm not
Carole
sure.
King was the original composition. Yes, from Carole King, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You've Got a Friend. Yeah.
Yeah. So because I know that because this song, it was my favorite song when I was drunken in pubs and I was singing that every evening, and I really. I still like it actually, but I don't have an album of him. I had an album of Jackson Browne, and I at the beginning I confused the both a little bit, so because they're a little bit similar. At least from the look somehow.
It's very interesting. Jackson Browne and Eagles and Linda Ronstadt was on the Asylum label, and the owner of the Asylum label was David Geffen. He also later has a group, Asia. It was a super group.
I know
Heat of the Moment.
Heat of the Moment. Yeah.
It was a super group, Asia. It was the members Carl Palmer, John Wetton from King Crimson, Steve Howe from Yes, and Jeff Downes from Buggles. That's very funny. This group
Buggles
was also on Geffen. David Geffen, the owner, was also in my book. My manager from the band, Aidan Rickbeck and Tyler, speaks to David Geffen because the band wants a singer-songwriter, Surrender, to speak one sentence on the album, and David Geffen wants $200,000 when you can see it on a Saturday. Okay, yes. Yeah. That's a scene. Jackson Browne from Laurel Canyon, Crosby, Stills and Nash, and this all music scene. Yeah.
It is. Actually, the thing is that some of the Eagles, I don't know, it was who was the singer-songwriter from the Eagles, the main head?
It was Don Henley and Glenn Frey.
Glenn Frey.
Is less for years, but Don Henley lives on.
Yeah, and I think Glenn Frey was he shared not the apartment, but he used to live underneath Jackson Browne, I think.
Yeah. Glenn Frey was it? It was Glenn Frey.
Was it? So and he was listening to songs of Jackson Browne because Jackson Browne was playing it on a guitar or piano. I don't know. So actually, he was stealing his songwriting,
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting because then if you listen to the Eagles and if you listen to Jackson Browne and if you distinguish, if you compare it, you can distinguish it a little bit, but I would say the sound is often quite similar. Jackson Browne has a different way how he performs it, but from the singing songwriting, I see similarities.
Jackson Browne to which compared?
To Eagles.
To Eagles, yes. It was the same music clique or music scene. Linda Ronstadt and Linda Ronstadt was a central figure because all people loves Linda Ronstadt. She's a nice girl. She looks very good. And Jackson Browne, I don't know. He was his girlfriend of Jackson Browne. Similar. Eagles. It's West Coast music. I think it's a name for the music. West Coast. Yes, West Coast. Yeah. Yes, genau. It's Eagles. That's John David Saucer, Jackson Browne. I think Linda Ronstadt also, and the Flying Burrito Brothers, Poco. That was also the same scene. Joe Walsh was later a member of Eagles. Yes.
I mean, it's a mix between West Coast and it's not Southern rock. It's I mean West Coast and country rock. I mean,
I only know from Jackson Browne All Empty. That was the biggest success for him. But I'm not listen to his records very often. Sometimes that's a gap in my musical interest.
Career.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite tricky to if you're eclectic, if you're an eclectic listener to music. I mean, in my case, I listened as well a lot to American music, and I mean not only American, sure, English songs as well, from new wave up to Police, to Lynyrd Skynyrd, to the American 60s, 70s, and Jackson Browne was still one of my and Eagles. Biggest singer songwriter at all. I don't know how I come actually now to Jackson Browne and to James Taylor, to You've Got a Friend.
But Eagles is a band who music was not so interesting, but the story of the band is interesting. How the members interact, the discussions, the conflicts, that is interesting of the band. The music of Eagles, okay, Hotel California, everybody knows, but New Kid in Town or The Long Run, okay, you can hear it, but it's not very progressive music or very interesting music.
It's not progressive at all, but I still must say that I don't know why, but they manage it to touch me with it, So it's the way the songwriting happened was like I found quite good storytelling, So making a song out of something totally boring, actually, I mean, it is totally boring, the New Kid in Town, and getting a song out of that, So everybody's talking about the New Kid in Town. People started walking out.
I have seen concerts from 1977. I must say it was good that all the members plays all the instruments. Grant Fly not only plays guitar, he also plays keyboards. And Joe Walsh, he was a very good guitarist, but he not only plays guitar, he plays Hammond organ, synthesizer on the stage. That was very good for a band, yes. Good musicians, the Eagles also. Not only good songwriters, also perhaps exception, the drummer is not so good. They hold the second drummer. It was Joe Vitale from Joe Walsh, but okay, that's another story.
Harmonizing as well was really great from them. I mean, that was so they were so focused on that what they're doing. So that was I mean, I was quite impressed about that, However, so back to your music journalism. Are you still? I mean, except researching for your book, are you still working for music magazines?
No, I have not the time to work for music. The book was I was so intensive right on the book, and I have not the time to hear new music. I must also write about new CDs, new concerts, but there's no time for that. The book was in the foreground the last years. It was it was enough work, and the second part from the book comes also. It's okay. I have it for many years as a music journalist, but I have a good end. It was Eclipse has released 3 books about the story about the history of the rock music, about bands like Santana. I have written the main articles, or Emerson or Palmer have written about the records. It was okay. It was a good finish. It was okay. Yeah.
So that means the articles, not books, more essays.
Yeah, essays.
Actually.
Eclipse also released big books about rock history, and also write for the books. Yes, yeah. But it was not so interesting when you remember in the 70s or 80s, the German magazines, Music Express or Sounds, it was the Gonzo journalism. So when a new Friedrich Frampton album comes out, the journalist only writes Frampton no thanks. That was the journalism in the 70s and 80s. That's not in the now time. You must write about the Wirtschaft, about the business. You can't...
the economy.
Yeah, you can't write very negative, because then the record company says, we send no more records to your newspaper.
All right.
Yeah, that's over. That was the past. And I found it very good. There came a new Motze Hupel album, comes out, 1974, Motze Hupel live, and the only comment from the journalist was that. It was. Today, you found so many informations about albums, you can't recognize it all. Ne? And that was good. It was, we in Germany said, to die Spreu vom Weizen trennen. Ne? Also good albums trennen from bad albums. Ne?
To distinguish the good from the bad. Yeah. So all right. I mean, that's quite interesting.
I have an article about the band. We must take away 10 points. 10 is the best. 1 is the best. I have 3 points, and said, no, you can't 3 points, because there are business interests behind them. No?
Sure. Yeah. Honestly, so it was. I mean, what's about news magazines like Specs, for instance? Are they still exist?
No, but the Clara Drexler, the journalist, make on, but I'm not on the new information. I have no actual information. I must research, then I found it. But Music Express still exists. Billboard, Rolling Stone.
Yeah. Rolling Stone, sure. I mean, I must say, I love to read Rolling Stone in the 70s, in the 80s. Actually, it was for me one of the best magazines as a mix between political information, socio-political information, cultural information, everything. That was. I mean, I don't know if it's still on the same level like 20, 30 years ago.
It's a long time ago that I've bought a magazine like Rolling Stones or Music Express.
Yeah. Actually, I should do it sometimes, But I mean, Music Express was not on the same level like the Rolling Stone.
No. That's right. Yes.
That was so. That means eventually, you're not challenged. You're not really challenged anymore to write for music magazines, because you can't be critical. You just have to fulfill.
All is written for me about music and about CDs. That's over. That's okay.
Yeah. But I mean, it's still. I'm still finding new bands as well. Still. I love it to research, and every then and now I find young bands where I say, wow, they really they are able somehow to transform the feeling from the 80s or 70s into nowadays, so
the problems, I think, of the modern music is when you go back to the 70s, each band has its individual sound because there was only analog instruments. Today, you have computers and you can also make on digital way. And for me, it sounds like equal. It gives so much modern software, you can also limit it down. And in the 70s, every album sounds not like the other album. And for me, today, it sounds, the drums are all, in the 70s or 80s, I go to concerts to amateur bands. It sounds like cellar bands. Today, every little band sounds great because PA is better than in the past, or the instruments are better in the past. But for me, there's no individual performance. Greater drums, keyboards, it's all the same. For me. Yeah. For my opinion, it is so. It gives Ausnahmen like Muse. The group I like very much, Muse, but then on not, or Daft Punk I also like, but I'm not on the today. No. I don't hear modern music. Yes. Yeah.
I would say this is a good point to finish our second part. Because I'm gonna do it actually this time completely vice versa. We came from Bernd's last project, his book, in the first part, which is about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. What's the name of the book again?
Sex, Drugs, and Symphonies.
Sex, Drugs, and Symphonies, and that was in the first part. Where we in the second part we came a little bit into his actually probably his background, how he was getting inspired for the book as well as music journalist, because you have to research a lot, and it's history, the history of the last 40 years, 50 years somehow. What is probably in the book in it as well somehow. So you can find a lot of diamonds and a lot of nice stories in it. So, and I would say in the third part we're gonna go then over to Bernd's earlier time and to my earlier time in the 80s, because maybe Bernd knows a little bit more about the 80s. And about myself as me, because I'm probably more like the members of the Mötley Crüe who forgot a lot already, because probably too pissed or whatever, I don't know, So, Bernd, I thank you very much to have you here in ArTEEtude in my show. I wish you a lot of luck with your book as well. And I hope I see you in the third part.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Very well.
Take care. Bye. Bye. This is a listener-supported show. I feel honored if you subscribe this show. You can follow me non-financial with the following click on one of my Instagram accounts, or subscribe the visual version of this podcast on YouTube via the link below. If you like what you hear, be sure to tune in this Sunday for the third part of this ArTEEtude audio triptych. If you want to leave a donation for a coffee or a bus ticket, just follow the donation link via the ArTEEtude podcast account. Eventually, I would like to thank, through this medium, all my members and listeners of the I Love West Cork Artists Network from all over the world. Just to remember myself that without you, this here couldn't and wouldn't happen.
You have listened to ArTEEtude, West Cork's first art, fashion and design podcast. ArTEEtude, never so close again. That was too close.